any feedback, suggestions, I will share with you in regards to what my position is. When it comes down to day-to-day operations, I would turn it over to our acting superintendent, Dr. Carter, who's here, which I'm so grateful to have him here with us today. I also have my fellow school board member, the Honorable Timothy Puryear as well, so thank you, Mr. Puryear, who came to support us on today. And I do see one of our administrators from Mahern Powellton, Ms. Cheryl Bowen. She represents our Mahern Powellton Elementary School, so thank you so much for coming in for your support today as well, too. So again, this is just an open conversation. I just want to hear from you, to hear your feedback. If you have any questions for me, and if I cannot answer, I'm going to direct you to, if it's a day-to-day operations, I will direct you to our acting superintendent. But I'm just here just to have open dialogue. I just want to hear whatever your concerns that you may have, even if it's not concerns, if it's a compliment. We enjoy compliments as well too. But anything that we can build together in order to continue to build our school systems and to build our community. So I'm not going to talk too much right now. I'm going to turn it over to the Honorable Tyler, and then we're going to make sure we open it up to the floor.
Okay, good morning to everyone. Happy to be out on a Saturday morning. I think Monica covered the basis from the school board side. From the county side, we work collaboratively trying to provide funding to the schools to make sure the kids get what they need, the teachers get what they need. It's a task, but I'm going to let them talk about the school projects and things like that. I want to welcome our panel, Director of Economic Development, Ms. Reynolds. Ms. Reynolds, we have her because you may have some questions about economic development, right? Even though we're going to have her to speak on it, we have the solid waste, one of the most important, I think one of the most important departments in the county. Because guess what, when trash start getting everywhere, things start looking bad, people start calling. And guess what, you don't hear that, but we do. So that's one of our important departments. All our departments are important. We have the Department of Zoning and Planning. And I know some people have a question about zoning and planning. I'm going to let them give that information. We have concerns. One thing when you run for re-election, people, you know, when you go door to door, people start telling how their concerns and issues. And I know in Freeman area, there were some concerns and issues, but we'll take care of those things. We'll hire some code enforcement, things like that. There's a lot of legal things you have to do before you implement certain things, okay? It's just a pleasure being here. We have this, probably the person, you know, we have some kind of like a calculation, but we have a question about real estate and things like that. But we just happy to be here, and we're going to open the floor. And first, before we open the floor, you want to go first, or you want to go first? You can go first. Okay, first, I'm just going to yield to the floor for economic development to Ms. Reynolds, and we'll just go down from solid waste and plan. Okay?
Good morning.
It is a pleasure to be here. As he first stated, my name is Alfreda Jarrett Reynolds. I'm not a stranger to any of you. I've either taught or related or worked with or have served through funeral service through many, many hats. And so it is a pleasure to be here. I serve as the Director of Economic Development. Brunswick County is the location of choice, the gold standard in business, leisure, family, and education. And that's how I market you in order to draw business, economic development, job opportunity, and community growth. So what does that mean, the location of choice? I said Brunswick County is nowhere, but we're an hour from everywhere. We're an hour from Richmond, we're an hour and a half from Raleigh, we're 2 hours from Hampton Roads. So those are the draws. We have major thoroughfares that run through us. And I know, I don't want to seem insulting because you live here, you know that, but I wanted you to know that's how I market who we are. So we have, of course, Interstate 85, we're 15 minutes from Interstate 95, we have Highway 58. So when businesses want to come, they want to come to a place that they can get in and do what? Get out. From a logistics standpoint. And that's how I market who we are based on our location. And that's why we are the location of choice. We don't have the high taxes of Chesterfield and Richmond, but we have the proximity to the interstates. We're 2 hours from the border. We are part of the Port of Virginia. So do you realize that right here on 58, there are 13,000 cars that come through here every day. 13,000 cars and about 4,000 18-wheelers. So trucks that are coming back, going back and forth to the port. And so that's important to know when you talk about our population. Our population is small, but we have major operations that run through Brunswick. My job is to get them of interest, to let them know where we are, because we'll never be anybody's option if nobody knows we exist. You'll never pick right if you didn't know there was a right. And so my job in marketing is to ensure that people know that we are an option. We are open for business. We are a great community. We're a safe community. Our schools are good. We have great families. So it's a great networking. There's great housing. There's great soil. There's great planning. You know, many corporations don't want to come to a place when they got to wait 6 and 7 months for an application to come through. So what Mr. Morrison and I have put together is a fast-track permitting process. That is a huge draw because that streamlines the process in drawing business to Brunswick County. If they know that their permitting process won't take a year or 2 years for some people, I've heard. And so one of the things that's crucial to what we're doing here relative to economic development is not just growing business and industry, but creating jobs. And workforce development is key. We work very collaboratively with our school. I sat on the CTE board so that there is a streamline, because when businesses come, they want to know who will work. If we come to Brunswick, do you have a workforce? And what does that workforce look like? And so we work very closely with our schools in that regard in terms of training, workforce development, IT development, and I'll talk about IT in a few moments because that is a huge topic that's going to directly impact your area. And so we do a lot with workforce development and having a great collaborative relationship with our schools to ensure that there's a streamline, not just our county school, but as well as Southside Virginia Community College. When Microsoft came to Mecklenburg, one of the great things that happened was they produced the curriculum by which we could train our students so that they could get a job and an internship at Microsoft. Just like when Dominion came, they wanted to train our students. One of my prize students trained with Dominion Energy. I love and miss him so. So that's very important, is that we are in line with the businesses and industries that we're connecting with, and then being able to provide the workforce training so that they can be a part of that. So we have an internship with our school system. I don't want to steal Dr. Carter's thunder with IT development, and we are honing in on those courses at Southside Virginia Community College that's actually being taught by Microsoft executives. So our students, we're building that workforce. So speaking of IT, you understand what they've done, what Microsoft has done. They have the largest footprint of data centers in the world in South Hill. The tax base is crazy. They were able to build a new school without raising taxes. So what Microsoft has done for Mecklenburg is phenomenal. So why not Brunswick? That was my question. So I hunted down and ran behind and invited myself to places I probably shouldn't have been. And Microsoft had an event, and they said, ma'am, I don't see your name. I said, look again. Why don't I see your name? I said, look one more time. They said, I said, you know what, I'll just write my name. I went to an event that I wasn't invited to, just so that I could have a conversation with Microsoft and let them know that, hey, Brunswick County is open, we're ready, we're excited. And so I wanted to share with you that we have built out an IT industrial park right here in Freeman, Virginia. So what you see in Mecklenburg is now here in Brunswick. And I am so excited to be able to lead the charge with the support of our Board of Supervisors. We have built out 2,000 acres right here in Freeman, surrounding the Dominion Energy Power Plant for IT development. Some properties that the county owns, and some properties that are privately owned. But I wanted to ensure that it was equitable, and I wanted to ensure that it was diverse. That they were coming in paying top dollar for land, and I wanted to be sure that it looked like the encompass of all of our citizens, not just some. And so in that effort in leading that charge, Brunswick County has 386 acres that surrounds the REMAC plant right on 58. That is under purchase sale agreement right now for data center development. And it's no secret, I sold it for $6 million. So once they close, that money's coming back to the county. And from that, they're going to invest another $250 million into this development. That's water and infrastructure. Our governor, Governor Glenn Youngkin, because you can't just work in isolation in a county. You have to work with your state and federal partners. Regardless of party lines, you still have to work with them. So Governor Youngkin, we applied for a Virginia Business Site Ready grant. He gave us $1 million. So in the next 2 to 3 weeks, You'll see some boring under 58 from Dominion over to the Stonewall site. There was $1 million just to get water across the street. This is really expensive. But we were able to write that grant and was blessed to be successful to get that. Because when you're presenting property, you want to say, hey, we have the infrastructure as well as the land. Those are the things that are making it enticing to others. We have another 600 acres behind that we're working with. We have phase 1 of development is land directly across the street that literally sits behind Dominion Energy. That's another 647 acres that's under option for data center development. So if Mecklenburg can do it, so can we. And we're excited about what that looks like for Brunswick County. Aside from all of the plethora of other projects that we have going on, we're working with one of our newest landowners with the Brunswick County Country Club. The golf course is owning 46. I have never been there because I was never allowed to go there. I wasn't welcome there. But now we are under new ownership and we are so excited to partner with her to help get that up and running, and that will be a public golf course, so that our students will have an opportunity to be able to be exposed to golf, that we don't have to. We have an avid golfer right here. Today is a good day for a golf lesson. I've had 3. Can I get a 4th lesson?
Well, I actually played 9 holes this morning.
Oh, can you put me down for one day next week, please? Because I cannot market what I don't know. And I realize I've had 3 lessons, and I realize I love golf. But I don't want to have to drive all the way to Petersburg to get the lesson. So now we have an opportunity, because the concept is Brunswick County is a location of choice. So not just business, but we want people to enjoy where they live. And so one of the things, we have a recreation department committee that's working on building an indoor pool at the Brunswick County Conference Center. And so these are some of the things that we're doing and that we're working toward in order to make our locality and remain the location of choice, and make it a place that you're proud to live in. So you can stick your chest out and say, oh yeah, I'm from Brunswick County, because these are the things that we have happening. So many times we see on Facebook all of the trash about what's not happening and what they don't know. They take a little bit of the truth, just an inch, and then they run with the other storyline. But we are transparent. Every month I make a report about what's happening and what we all are doing in Brunswick County, in all of our various departments, and it's printed in the Brunswick County Brief. So if there are questions, you can call my office, you can go online, you can go to the Facebook page. The facts are there. So if we are open door policy, we're working tirelessly. We have an international footprint. We have a company from Taipei that's coming to Brunswick in Alberta area to do advanced manufacturing. We have a plethora of projects that we're working on. We have a hotel development that took a side turn, but we're working back with the new ownership in order to get that back on track to get going as well. And so we are here, we're dedicated, we live here, and so we're invested in the community to ensure that Brunswick County remains a location of choice. Thank you for an opportunity to share just a brief highlight of what we have going on in terms of economic development.
What we're going to do is we're going to rotate. You're free right now. Ms. Reynolds, I'm sorry. But you know, this is true. This is true. Looking for an economic development person, I firmly believe that when you hire people, you should first look at your accountant. We have a qualified individual in accounting. And when she applied, I looked at her credentials. I looked at, and I said, hey, is she interviewed well? I said, she can do a great job for it. She's invested here in the county, her kids in the county, so why not hire her? It just don't make it's just a no-brainer. We have the same thing about solid waste. She is from Brunswick County. She's the director of solid waste. She's invested in the county. It's the same thing. We have qualified individuals in the county. Our planning director, you know, we have some sharp folks here. Now, Freeman gave y'all a snap of what's going on. If I still can't stand here and explain to you everything going on in Brunswick County, but Brunswick County is on the move. You have a board of supervisors, I'm telling you, that has worked hard, paving the way, and making things happen. That land on 5th Ave, we purchased that, well, I forgot, we purchased a while ago. We got criticism about that. We got criticized. Why y'all purchase land? But you gotta have a vision. If you don't have a vision, people perish. And we have a vision. And my board members, that I think Barbara said, Fonzie was coming. We had a vision to purchase that land, to move things forward. Your county can't stay stagnant. As a taxpayer, you cannot pay enough real estate tax to provide service to EMS, sheriff department, schools. You can't do it. So we have to be innovative and make things happen in Brunswick County. And we're going to switch this thing over to the school board. I can stop.
Thank you, Mrs. Reynolds, and thank you, Mr. Tyler. So, we're gonna turn it over to the school board now. Again, thank you for everyone for coming out. For those who just came in as well, greetings. So, to talk about my role in regards to the school board, or the role of the school board, our role is to oversee the budget. We want to make sure that we develop policies and develop the school policies to make sure the policies are followed. We want to make sure that we hire and evaluate our superintendent. So with that being said, back at the end of June, we lost Dr. Majad, who transitioned out of our school system. So we had the opportunity to start our process of looking for an acting superintendent. When we're looking for an acting superintendent, I'm not speaking on behalf of the board, I'm speaking basically on behalf of myself as a board member. When I was providing my feedback and looking for a superintendent, I wanted someone who was very much involved in the community. I wanted someone who had the experience as well, someone that our children respected, someone who has good character as well too, and someone who's very intelligent as well too, which leads to our acting superintendent, Dr. Carter. So I definitely supported my fellow board members of bringing on Dr. Carter. Dr. Carter has been with our school system for at least over 7 years, and he can share more about that. He can talk about the different projects and things that we're doing right now in regards to our new projects for our new school, what his vision is. But I'm excited to collaborate with Dr. Carter so he can share with you the projects and things that we're working on, what his vision is for the Brunswick County Public School System, and also he can share with you about any new innovative ideas that we're starting to do. I know on Monday we had a school board meeting, and one of the things that we kind of talked about was our 6th graders. Because with the transition of our schools, the 6th graders at one point was not going to be allowed to participate in the sports. So Dr. Carter did bring that back up to us as a school board. We had an opportunity to vote on so they could participate in those extracurricular activities. This is the first time I think the school board stated we had a round of applause. I remember Mr. Ward stated that. So the parents are very excited about this opportunity. We're excited as well too. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Carter so he can introduce himself and just share with you about day-to-day operations. And the reason why I'm turning it over to Dr. Carter, because a lot of times people don't understand that as a school board member, we're not a part of the day-to-day operations. A lot of times I do get phone calls from constituents who may have issues. I am a big supporter of a chain of command. So if a parent contacts me and they have an issue with, say for example, a teacher, the first thing I want to know is, did you have a conversation with the teacher? Did you try to figure out a remediation plan to have that conversation? If that didn't happen, did you talk to the building principal? Did you have an opportunity to go talk to the principal and have a conversation and give them an opportunity to see what they can do in order to fix the situation? Now, if they had that conversation with the teacher, they had the conversation with the principal, that didn't work, well, your next step is possibly a member of Dr. Carter's executive team. Did you speak to the lead, the director of instruction, Dr. Hampton, and so on? If that didn't work, then go see our superintendent, Dr. Carter. Give him an opportunity to fix the issue. Now, say for example, you done went through every single step, and you're not satisfied with his answer, then you come contact me if I'm your representative and share your concerns with me. And when you share your concerns with me, I'm going to make sure that I educate you on, hey, our school board meetings are the second Monday of the month at 7 p.m. Make sure you get there by 6:45 to sign up so you can have an opportunity so we can hear your voice. I'm coaching them, explaining to them, look, you have 3 minutes to share with us what you would like for us to hear. So before you get to that meeting, make sure you practice whether you're doing a mock interview with yourself to make sure that you're getting out every single point that you would like for us to hear, because you only have 3 minutes. Because a lot of times, coming from the other side, as an advocate, I learned by experience that you can get up there and you can share, you know, your concerns, and you be so passionate, and that you don't have enough time to get out everything that you would like for the board to hear. So I'm making sure that I'm coaching our constituents to time themselves so we can make sure we hear all of their concerns before they come out. So I'm a really big advocate for chain of command. So, and I want to make sure that our parents and our students understand the processes. I want them to make sure that they understand, like, the handbook, making sure they look at what the student conduct book is, making sure they understand what a due process is as well too. I want them to understand the different requirements in regards to behavior, or the right person they can go to in regards to their scheduling, whether it's the school counselor or whatever it may be. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Carter so I don't ramble on. So Dr. Carter, thank you.
Ms. Millen, and I'll try to not ramble on as well, but good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here before you. Mr. Tyler, Mr. Millen, Ms. Creer, thank you all for inviting me. As she mentioned, I am the acting superintendent. I've been in public education in Virginia since first started teaching in '99. When I first started as a first-year teacher, I met teachers who had been in the profession. They said, yeah, I've been here for 25 years. I was like, wow, I'm not sure if I'm going to make it 25 years. And 25 plus years later, here we are. But it's, like I said, an honor to be here working in Brunswick County Public Schools. I've served in the past as a teacher, coach, assistant principal, principal. I was formerly principal of Russell Middle School, and then became director of operations with Brunswick County Public Schools. And now, for this school year, I've been serving as the acting superintendent. We have started school. We just finished our first full week this week, and because I'm not 100% sure who our audience is, by show of hands, do any of you all have a student or your child or grandchild who's currently enrolled in the BCPS? So awesome. Thank you, parents and grandparents, for sharing your children with us. One of my personal beliefs is that children are the very best that any of us could hope to share with the rest of the world. So a lot of trust has to be put on the school, on the teacher, on the administrator, that we are going to take your very best and do everything we can to contribute to them and help them advance. What we want to see in the short term is that Brunswick County Public Schools meets each one of the benchmarks that the state sets out for us for minimum standards to be accredited, and have green. We use a color system in Virginia: red, yellow, and green. It's kind of easy to have the bracket, but we want to be fully accredited and meet every benchmark as a minimum standard. After that, our next immediate goal is to become the defining mark, the best school division in Southside Virginia, and after that to become the school of distinction, where we become a place where the rest of the state looks to say, what are they doing in Brunswick? We need to get on board with what they're doing. And we have a lot of progress to make to get to that point. I believe we can get there, but it's going to take events like this, a total community effort to support students, and those things for student achievement don't take place unless we have the best teachers that we can have, unless the teachers that we have get the best training that they can have. So we're upgrading facilities, but one of the things you notice is that this year we're fortunate that we're a little better with staffing, that we didn't have as much staff turnover, but teacher recruitment is one of our primary focuses, and we want to make sure that we're able to support, compensate, and reward those teachers that we're bringing in. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to keep them. So as we say, we want to be the top school division in the area. That means we also need to have a school division where we have teachers who are not tempted to go to surrounding counties because they can find a better job. So it's going to take major effort from all of us to make all the changes that I know I want to see, and I think everyone in this room wants to see BCPS link. One thing I will share with where we are, this current year has been a major year of change. As you know, as Mr. Cohen just stated about 6th graders in sports, that change was necessary because we just moved 7th and 8th graders and vacated the Russell Middle School building. So now, if you have a student who's in grade 7 or 8, they're now taking classes upstairs at the high school. Our enrollment has dropped significantly over, I would say, the last 25 years to where we are now, to where now the tech center is open at the high school, and the majority of high school students are able to have classes in the tech center building, which left a lot of space for 7th and 8th graders. The elementary school enrollments are low enough that we were able to keep the 5th grade students from last year in the school building for another year as 6th graders. And next fall, this time next year, we'll be opening the new elementary school, which will be a kindergarten for 6th grade school. That is going to close our 3 existing elementary schools. So next year, this year as well, it's a year of tremendous transition. We're doing everything we can to make sure it's a smooth process. It's not perfect, but we're trying to also manage the emotional and historical connections. I'm not sure if any of you all had a chance to take part yet, but it is still open. We are working with the St. Paul's Museum and Archive to create a written and digital history of the James Solomon Russell School Building. We had a history event last Saturday at the government building where anyone who was formerly a student or an employee could come in and sit before the TV camera crew and record your oral and digital history about your experience in that school building. And that was really impactful for me. As I've been involved in this process, I've learned so much about the history of that school building. We had a gentleman that came and shared a photo of the football team, the championship football team for Russell in 1962. And he wanted to donate that to the museum because he said that, you know, when I'm gone, this history will be lost if I don't turn it over to someone. So those are the kind of things we're trying to preserve there. A book will be published that will contain the stories of everyone who wants to share their experience as a student or an employee in that school building over the years. If you know a member of the Museum and Archives Committee, Mr. Brimstad's heavily involved with that, Mr. Connor, there's several folks. So reach out to me directly if you'd like more information about that, but they are still actively collecting that information. And as well as our elementary schools, we'll be doing a similar project because Powellton, Red Oak Sturgeon, Chatero, they're all somewhere around circa 1965. So we're looking at the closure of those schools in 2025. So how do we celebrate and capture the history of all of the amazing educators and experiences that have taken place in those buildings as well. So we're trying to move forward, have progress, but still preserve the legacy of everything that's happened beforehand. But again, we have lots of amazing things going on in our school division, and I'm just happy to be here, and I want to learn more about you, learn more about what your needs are, and make sure that we're doing things in the school that meet your need for you and your child. So thank you.
One thing I'm excited about when he asks, you know, who has a child in the school system, I am the only parent board member that has a child in the school system. And I always state I'm not your average school board member. I'm an advocate. And I think that is the reason why the constituents voted me on the board. So I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity because you know where my heart is. I'm not your, you know, Mr. Puryear. We all have unique things that we bring to the board. And one thing about me, I just want you to know that my passion is for the kids and what is right for the kids. It's not about what clique. I'm not a part of a clique. I'm a part of the best possible solution for our children. And I have a child that's in the school system, so I'm gonna advocate. Is my child perfect? No, not at all. He has his issues. If he has any behavior issues, it's the same process for him, just like any other child. But just know that I'm doing the best with my village and my family to make sure that I am supporting him. And I'm gonna make sure that I have the support of the community, the support of the superintendent, the counselors, or whoever I may need in order to help me along the way. But most of all, my faith in God is what supports me throughout that process as well too. I want to share that also on the school board, we have various committees that we can participate in. I'm the chair of the personnel committee, so I work closely with Dr. Carter and our HR director, Ms. Pearson, and Mr. Perrier is also a member on that committee. I'm also a part of the athletics committee. Now, I'm a huge fan, definitely when it comes down to football. On football, you can see this school board member running up and down the field, like screaming until I lost my voice. By the time I go back to work the next day, because I work for the Department of Juvenile Justice, my voice is gone. In regards to the next committee, I serve on the Emergency Management Committee as well too. So those are the committees that kind of touch bases with me. I really enjoy my friend and my brother here as well, Captain LaPresti. I can call him anytime, have any questions. He's very involved in the community. Wherever I go in the community, I see Captain LaPresti. He always gives back. Even like once I leave here, I'm a part of the NAACP. He's a member as well too. So Captain LaPresti's support and Sheriff Roberts' support and the support of the Brunswick County Sheriff's Department is very instrumental to our school system as well, because we have our school resource officers that work closely with Dr. Carter and the building administrators. But I also want to mention to you, there are index cards on your table. If you have any questions, concerns, or anything, you want to write it down. If you don't have an opportunity to speak, you can leave those cards in that little bucket that's on the table right there. But it's about hearing from you as well. I know we have quite a few people here to speak, and I want to turn it a little bit before I hand it back over to you for your next person, to give an opportunity. Maybe it's someone here who has a question or concern, and you would like to ask that question or share that. This is the time I'm going to pass the mic to you guys in order to speak, and then I'll turn it back over to Mr. Tyler so we can turn it over to his next person to share information. So do we have anyone here with any question or concern? I can bring the mic to you right now.
I do have one question.
You need a mic?
I do need a mic. I am Marcus Farmer. I've been with the, not only the Brunswick County school system for a number of years, but I grew up as a part of St. Paul's. When we stayed with, I don't know whether y'all remember anything about St. Paul's Farm, which is behind the building that the student union, but the government building is now, all that building. It was a farm, and the farm did a lot for the community / St. Paul's. A lot of stuff that they raised it, but I was also graduating. I was in graduate classes, James on Russell, 1963. So it's been out there, for quite a while. But I do know some history about St. Paul and Dr. McClintock. Because we all came up to Virginia, my family did, from South Carolina, Denmark, Voorhees College, which is one of the St. Paul and Voorhees was in the group of colleges that were the black, almost like a black, I think about 13, 14 colleges that was in there. But, that we grew up. I grew up, I guess, as I went to the grades 1 through 7 at the Chicago building, and Russell 8 through 12. One question I want to ask is this: we used to have industrial arts a lot at Russell. In fact, St. Paul's used to be a polytechnical institute. St. Paul's Polytechnical Institute before it became St. Paul's College. One question is this: is there any way, everybody, kids, that's not going to be so computer literate as to get a job in those fields? What are we doing? Can we use the old Russell building to have something like a magnet type school dealing with industrial arts, dealing with the trades, that when people get out, if they decide not to go to college, you can find out what's going on in the different areas and maybe have someone to come in and teach them what these companies might need from them. Can we utilize Jameson Russell building, because it does have trade shops that at least it used to have. Yeah. About incorporating that into for that the schools so can use. You have more space, but you can switch those students back and forth, and you have a building. The main focus is industrial arts type stuff. Like, can we still use it? Has the school board considered that? Has the county considered that? Thank you.
Okay, great question. Great question. So, right now, the schools own, the superintendent of the school board owns the schools. Once they release the schools to the board of supervisors, we have what we call a repurposing committee. Now, this repurposing committee is going to have a representative from each district to serve on their committee. Come up with the best solution, the best need for those schools, okay? That's in the process. So in my district, I'm going to appoint someone from my district serving that committee. And all the district helps have a representation on that. And you have other individuals on that called repurposing committee. And I understand where you're coming from. So we want to look at the best needs for those schools, okay? I'm not getting to that. No, it's some ways of money, with the federal cuts and things like that. It's kind of, so we have some ideals. We still got some ideals, how we're going to do this. But a lot is going to depend on monies, okay? But most definitely we're looking at that. We're just not going to say, we don't want that school to be like South Brunswick School. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We don't want that. We don't want none of those schools to be like South Brunswick School. So what we probably, there may be some local investors say, hey, I want to buy Mahern Powellton. I want to buy Sturgeon. You don't know. We may have people come from outside. But we'll have a plan. But it's going to have a committee. We'll have a plan. That's one thing we don't want to happen. But I think if you really look at Russell to Terrell as a prime location, but I'm not getting into it. That committee going to come back and give us ideas to the board of supervisors who want community involvement. One community. Individuals calling all the way from North Virginia, hey, what are y'all going to do with Russell? I said, we got a committee. I don't know right now, but we got a committee. We're going to do the best thing for the community. Just a side note, any other questions? Just go ahead.
Yeah, could that possibly be, just a suggestion, could that possibly be a connection with Southside to provide those services at that building? That's just a point.
Yeah, and I understand you have all stakeholders at the table. We'll be working on that. Go ahead.
I just wanted to it kind of goes with your question, Mr. McMillan asked, but I want to talk about, and I see hands are up, I'm going to make sure I come back to you guys too. I want to kind of talk about, if you can just elaborate on our GoTech program, and then the program we just had a presentation on as well that we are contemplating. We haven't solidified anything, but the type of things that we're doing now with our middle school students just to spark their interest in, directions, not only with the CT classes we already have, and the governor on the GoTech program, and just share a little of that.
Yes, good morning again. The GoTech program is a grant funded program for exploratory career and technical education for middle school students. So the CTE program has opportunities for exploratory, where students get a glimpse into what different careers look like, as far as using a CNC cutter, 3D printing, welding, lathes, or machining. And that's the exploratory program that we try to expose students to all those different career paths and then allow them to have that experience and then decide what interests them. They do a career investigations course while they're in middle school where they research different careers, and then by the time they start picking their schedule in high school, they have an opportunity to select the courses that lead to the career outcome that they're interested in. So I'm gonna try to do some research and find out about an actual, as you mentioned, industrial arts. When I was in high school, it was called a building trades class, and there was 1 year that focused on carpentry and 1 year that focused on block masonry. I was not interested in that at all. I was and I'll tell you why. My father was a brick mason, and I have mixed a lot of mortar. I have carried a lot of buckets, and I set up a lot of scaffolding, and I was pretty sure I was not going to be a block mason. Not just because I didn't enjoy it, but I can't keep blocks straight. Like, you can set a stringer, and I will mess it up. And before the mortar dries, I can still hear his voice saying, "Take it down before it's set up, take it down, scrape it off." But I was in high school, I took shop classes, mainly in metal. That was my thing. I like cold metal, tapping die sets, gas welding, arc welding, soldering. I really like metal work, but block was not my thing. Have an option, as Mr. Miller mentioned, a new program called Starbase. It is a grant-funded program from the Department of Defense, which is taught in Blackstone near Fort Pickett, not on the base but close to it. And it is another exploratory program that is set to provide 25 hours of instruction to all 5th grade students. And the idea is that they want to start earlier with career options and career training, exposing students to STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math activities that are computer-based. Some of it's hands-on and covers SOLs, but at the same time exposes students to job tasks that are related to military careers, satellites, GPS, those type of activities. So we're hoping to get our students involved in that as soon as possible. And while we're talking about CTE, the state has made some changes. So when students take a CTE class, for example, when we were in school, there was such thing as like home economics. And a home ec class is no longer eligible to be a credit class in Virginia because home economics is something that we would do to teach students basic skills, how to put a hem in a pair of pants, how to stitch a button back on, how to prepare a meal for a family of 4. And it's the same way as in our agriculture classes. In like 1 year in agriculture FFA class, you have a course on planting a home garden. Now, all CTE classes in Virginia must lead to a career credential. So you have to complete your sequence, and at the end of that sequence, leave high school with a certificate that says you are certified in a certain job. So the home ec class transitions to culinary arts. So instead of having the home set up with a 4-eye oven range and your counter system of a stand mixer or whatever you use in your kitchen, everything now is focused on an industrial kitchen so that students get a serve-safe certificate and are qualified to go work in a restaurant or kitchen or bakery. Like I mentioned before with the classes where we may have learned in building trades how to wire an outlet or hang a ceiling fan in your house in the past. Now, when students take the HVAC and electrical program at the community college, and we're a part of the Lake Country Advanced Knowledge Center's collection of schools consortium through Southside Virginia Community College in South Hill. So students from Greensville, Brunswick, and Mecklenburg all travel to South Hill, and students have an option. 1 year, they take HVAC, and these students are completing anywhere from that we want to make sure students have an option to. And I will, again, I will take that into consideration and figure out if there's a way to incorporate industrial arts, because one of the things I've noticed as we've talked about our new school that's being built, there's a lot of work that could have been done, masonry, steel work, and there's no one locally who's, and those subcontractors were accepting applications, and they didn't have any applications submitted by people who had the skills to be a part of their job.
Thank you, Dr. Carter. There was another question, Ms. Celine, that I'm gonna go to Ms. Moss.
I don't need a mic, I don't think. Anybody that knows me knows I don't need a mic. I'll be too loud, so I'm gonna sit right here. But first of all, everybody knows who I am. I do many things in the community. But most importantly, I'm a community advocate. I have been waiting for this, to come into the community and talk about what we do. Want to make sure that I get pictures, because we have a lot of followers on our Facebook page, so that when I'm out advocating, I can show them things like this that I'm real proud of, that's on the website, what's going on in the school system, because I have a far reach in the community. The panel, super psyched about that, because I want to make sure that it spreads out into the community. That means that we can advocate about transparency, what's going on in the community, to people in the community. So what I would say is I definitely commend this excellent speaking to the Honorable Welton Tyler and the Honorable Monica McMillan. And know this, I'm going to tell you guys right now, sometimes if I can't reach mine, I'm going to call one of them. Because somebody's going to answer the phone if I call. So they are about the whole, all of Brunswick, and not just their district. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. I look forward personally to more of these things and put it together. Always keeping the community informed, because we know that there's a lot of things that are on Facebook and other places. Oh, wait a minute, there goes my representative right there, and Tim as well. We see a lot of negativity on Facebook and in other spaces. We need to put good news on Facebook ourselves. We need to make sure that we are giving the community accurate information. And what I say about the representatives that are here right now, they're around in the community all the time. They know the community. They know what issues are of concern to us. So we have to make sure, and don't just, complain, or if you have an issue, call them. They're going to answer the phone. And they're going to try to address your issue. A lot of things that I learned today of what's going on in the county and going on in the school system. So it makes me a happy camper, I'll tell you that. So well done for this. And I'm looking forward to more, but make sure please that I get pictures and stuff to put on Facebook, especially like links, because it's easier with the younger people. They'll go into a link before, like I don't want to not do it justice, the thing that you guys are doing in the county. But thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. To ask her questions, but also give her flowers for allowing us to have our first town hall meeting. It's not the first in this community, because Ms. Gwen McMillan has reminded me, I'm a young one. Maybe in the past, I've been back in Brunswick County for 12 years. It hasn't happened in 12 years since I've been here, but it has happened in the past. And she has checked me and correcting me on that. But I would like to thank Ms. Moss and the Jones family for allowing us to have the event here. So thank you so much. Ms. Moss?
Thank you for receiving the invitation. If I didn't get a chance to, I know some people walked in, I was on a phone call handling some business that was supposed to be handled for me yesterday. So I had a look on my face. I apologize for that. So if I didn't get a chance to greet you, if I was on that phone call when you came in, welcome. Thank you for being here today. I'm an educator by trade, a high school business teacher, and with FBLA, my students were very civically engaged in the community. So, and I was raised to do that by my parents, Mr. and Ms. Meljones, Mr. And Mrs. Earl and Roberta Jones. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for your civic engagement. Thank you for sharing the progress with the county. I think my first question, and I'll probably have a couple more, when we were talking about the use of James Solomon Russell, full transparency, I do not live here in the community, but I consider Brunswick County a home. I was here in this building just about every weekend from ages 4 to 17. That's quite a bit. Then as a young adult, even when living in Richmond, I would come and work here on Saturday nights. So, and my family, I have an uncle who was posthumously inducted into the St. Paul's Museum, the Hall of Fame. Our family is deeply rooted and invested in the history of this community. And it's important for us, I know from the 10 children that my father was one of, it's now down to 4. And so as those resources, the human resources, age and begin to transition, I know it's very important to our family for the cultural resources to be maintained. So my question is, in terms of the usages of the schools that will be closing, understood in terms of the fiscal responsibility with that, and especially with, from a national level, some of our Black history resources being diminished and depleted in some cases. Is the priority economic development with the James Solomon Russell building in particular, or will it be the safeguarding of the historical resource for the edification of the community, in particular the young people?
Okay, great question. Great question. So, I can see we have a repurposing committee. Now, we have looked at, among the board members, we talk about different things. We look at it from the economic development standpoint. We look at it from the community perspective. We look at it from a lot of perspective. Maybe a multi-purpose center. It's a lot of things we're looking at. But that committee will come back with recommendations, but the board of supervisors have the ultimate decision of what happened. And you brought some great points. We get a chance to go to other areas and look at other areas and say, this is a great idea in Brunswick. So that's what we're doing. And I understand what you're saying. You say, I don't live in the community, but I'm investing in the community. And my parents have been investing in the community for years.
Almost 50.
I know. They've done a lot of great things. And I'm saying, is there any way, maybe something the board need to look at, that we can help as an extra person on their committee? That's something the board should discuss. I understand you bring a lot of expertise. I understand that. I understand that. So that's discussed. Oh, first of all, my chair. Hi, chair. Good to see you this morning. Chair of the board of supervisors. But and that's something we need to probably discuss, because any great ideas to help grow Brunswick is so important. We don't have all the answers, trust me. We may come up with an answer and we're like, oh, how this work? How this work? How this work? And we just brainstorm it. And we get one well citizen input. Okay. So we'll look at that. I guess we'll look at something like that. I think that's a great idea.
If I may. And one thing that I will say, because I'm a firm believer in the village. And so I believe that even though my child is an adult, that I have children in Brunswick County school system, because I believe that our children are my children. And so I would like to just present to the Board of Supervisors, and I understand economic development. I was a business major, but I'm also an educator by trade. So I understand the flex that has to happen. I understand that in this society, we have to be able to draw capital from anything that we do just to support financially. I am direly concerned about our young people connecting with the rich history of the Black community, the African American community in particular. And so I just want to present, for what my voice is worth, that with James Solomon Russell building in particular, that we look at the long-term capital benefit to the community for safeguarding that historical resource.
Ms. Reynolds has something to say. Before Ms. Reynolds says something, I want to say this before I forget, because the number, I'm about 65 years old.
That's all right.
Jazz Festival, 823. Please attend. And look, you know, seriously, it's a great event. When we started this event, and Barbara's chairman, right? Barbara's chairman. We threw us, let's have a jazz festival. I'm like, what? And we got a lot of stat about that thing. People said, what they doing that stuff? We have a lot of donors. And this thing has grown. And the citizens truly enjoy it. Not only citizens, people come from all over. And what better way to market Brunswick County? Wow. So don't forget. The Brunswick Brief that you have in front of you. Right? Look, this is on the website. We have a retreat. And we were saying, you know, people in the community, this is kind of misinformed. What can we do? Dr. Seward, Barbara Drummond, and we was all sitting, we were sitting around talking, but there's so misinformed on information. We're working hard. What can we do? And we came up with the idea, the Brunswick Brief. Now, you go on the website and you read it. And these are the facts. We're not trying to hide anything from anybody. Honestly, we try to be transparent as possible. I'm not trying to hide anything. And this is a snapshot of some things that's so important. So that's why I brought those and passed them out. So you're aware. Take it back to your churches. Say, hey, go on the website with the Brunswick Brief, and they give you some information. I think that's important. And these are those. Ms. Reynolds wanted to say something about.
I want to address.
Yes, sir. And then we're going to a solid waste array.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. I just wanted to address that concern in terms of economic development while being sensitive to, because everyone knows that money talks. And so we want return on investment. But we have worked hard through our economic development department to ensure that the history of Brunswick County remains solid and that that's passed on to our investors who come to Brunswick. That is what makes marketing so key, is to draw people to our area, to attract them to invest in something that we don't have the means to invest in ourselves, but also getting them to understand the history and the emotional attachments to some of those buildings. So as we look to market various aspects, Mr. McMillan spoke about the St. Paul's Farm. That is 676 acres that I just facilitated the sale to an African-American woman that was a graduate of an HBCU who has a long-term investment company. So she understands, and I afforded her the opportunity to understand the history of what that land was, so that as she develops it, although she's paid a considerable amount of money for it, she still understands the sensitivity and the respect to the history and heritage attached to the land. So as she develops it, she will leave walking trails and history trails so that citizens can come on property in order to still be able to enjoy it as she looks for what? A return on investment. As well as St. Paul's College. St. Paul's College I've been under the ownership of a Chinese investment company out of Northern Virginia for over 12 years. And we work very closely with the owners because it's privately owned. So when something's privately owned and you put your money, I can't come to your kitchen and tell you what to cook. I can suggest that this is a healthier choice. But we meet with them and talk with them and tell them about the history of our community. That is our draw there as well. And so that is currently under contract with a private development firm to purchase the college. And in meeting with them and facilitating and marketing the college to that particular group of African-American gentlemen who are HBCU graduates, who understand the cultural history and sensitivity of James Solomon Russell, and I provided them with the tours. So as they work to get a return on their investment, they too are sensitive to the history and what that college meant to our community. So I wanted you to be sure that we are sensitive to the fact as we look for economic development, because we are here in order to make money and to grow and build business attraction, but we are bringing people to the table who are sensitive to the history of who we are as a community. That's a part of our attraction.
All right. So she gave us a great nuggets. She gave all the nuggets away.
Oh, they got a question. Yes, sir.
What follow?
Can I do him in the green first?
Yeah, he's good.
He was waiting. Yeah, I'm coming back. You need a mic.
That's okay. Hey, yeah, just three quick things. I don't want to keep too much time, but one thing, I heard something about the Russell schools, and I heard that we had a prospective, buyer or someone reached out. But anyway, I would like to, if by chance we should sell those facilities, it would be good to make sure that we have some stipulation in the agreement to not allow that to become another St. Paul's College. Meaning, we don't want that to be abandoned and just set to the side. The other thing is, this is really the primary reason why I'm here. The landfill, the drop-off of the landfill. I work in Richmond, and oftentimes when I have trash, the convenience centers are closed. And so I may have to go to the landfill to drop off trash. And, I'm a big guy, I'm a grown man, but there are times when I go over there, it's not well lit. There's trash everywhere, I feel like there are critters running around. When you drive up, I don't know if they're trying to repair the road or what, but there are huge rocks. I mean, how much would it cost to just get add some additional light? I feel like my taxes are going up, but I don't see the results. I appreciate everything that's been said, but not everyone goes to the Brunswick website all the time. Not everyone has this all the time. I can only go by what I see. So when I see that, and also the third thing is the grass cutting. I see there's mention of VDOT doing it right now. But 58, I live on 58. You would think that at least 58 would be cut. How can we have pride in our county when people are driving through, and the grass is overgrown? We have the schools that are opening, that school year just started back. It's unsafe with the tall grass. I appreciate the jazz festival, but then again, I can only go by what I see. And I feel like sometimes the only time the grass gets cut is when that jazz festival is coming along. How much, it's good to throw a party, but I want to see more. I feel like the county's only giving me a party. And that's when the cleanup happens, So I'm just being transparent. I'm just telling you what I see. And you're exactly right. I appreciate the comments about Facebook, in that we need to put positive things out there, because once again, not everyone knows about what's going on. We can only go by what we see. So please, let's try to address the minimum things, so to speak. The things that are evident, right in our face.
It's a real legit. And this is a point where what happens is this. The state used to cut grass, right? No longer. The state contracts out grass cutting. So it's like the federal government, when you start contracting out services, right? It's not going to be like what you think it should be. And even we have VDOT to come to our meetings, right? We express concerns constantly about the grass cutting. It's contracted out to a contractor. I'm going to just speak on this one. Landfill, the drop-off, I've been there. I go drop stuff off all the time. I agree 100%. I'm on the solid waste committee. We meet with the landfill number one. It's what? Private. It's private. We meet with them and say, look, we have to do something about it. We constantly call our solid director, respond to Department of Solid Waste.
Okay, greetings everyone. My name is Sean Ravon and I'm Director of Solid Waste Management. And I'm responsible for the 12 recycling centers throughout the county. Responsible for overseeing the old landfill, the gas and ground monitoring of that landfill, and indirectly overseeing the operation of the current landfill that we have that's run by Republic Services. So to address you with the entrance, so what they were trying to do is make it more convenient for the citizens by not having somebody monitor that center. And what's going on is we have a lot of illegal dumping. I know that because me and Sheriff Roberts, we were at the entrance one afternoon, and so many people, when they saw his truck, they just kept turning around and leaving. Because you have a lot of contractors and people who don't want to go over the scales in the weekdays, so they come to the centers on the weekend and dump their stuff out when nobody's there to stop them. But the Public Services is currently working on that, and it's probably going to be a little inconvenient, but at least it'll be safer and cleaner for people to go over the scales now, because you won't have people coming in and just dumping stuff that shouldn't be dumping stuff at the center.
Just one follow-up. So the road that leads to that drop-off, is that county owned?
Well, Republic Services is responsible for everything from the road all the way, They're
I was
responsible.
curious. I mean, I go to other counties, you know, their drop-offs are, but at the very least, again, if we could just add some lighting, I mean, it's very dark.
Yeah,
You know,
and they
all the
have
way.
cameras and everything, you know.
Yeah, and so,
Yeah, they have cameras at the entrance, yes. Yeah.
right, right. She raised it because I understand if it's private owned, but I would imagine there's some agreement with the county. I mean, there should be, where they need to maintain a certain standard. You know, and I feel like, I mean, when you first enter in, there's a pothole that's right there at the very entrance. That's been there probably longer than my grandson has
They have
because I keep driving in, that same pothole is right there. And I'm like, how much to just throw some asphalt in that pothole?
They have. They fixed it several times. I mean, they have trucks in and out all day, and it's just gonna keep knocking it out, but they have repaired it several times.
But it's on zoning though, can't zoning fine them or penalize them,
Yeah,
though it's private owned?
Something
No,
should
they
be.
can't? Well, what can they do with a private?
So as far as the recycling centers go, our job is to keep as much trash out the landfill as we can. You know, a lot of people think it's an inconvenience, but we do get revenue off the stuff that we recycle in the center. And we work with the litter council too, to also, you know, educate people on litter control. And go ahead.
I wasn't interrupting you, I just wanted to make a comment as well.
Okay.
Because yeah, I wasn't interrupting.
So basically that's it, and you know, we rent out and donate, you know, bins and everything to the local businesses here, homeowners and anything like that. So if you need a trash bin or something like that, you will call my department.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Miss, give her a hand. She got a tough department.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And I'm going to speak to the tough department. I am also, it's one of my many things, chairwoman of the Litter Control Council. We have to change the culture and education. I'm from Washington State. They're really environment friendly. You know, they want to make sure they're recycling, and most of that state is a man-made. We're not there yet. But what I will say is we do, as a part of education, to promote not littering, we do community cleanups with different organizations in the spring. And what is disheartening is sometimes, you know, I'll have groups like the Girl Scouts go out and clean up a road. The NAACP has helped. There's many organizations that have helped. And then within a couple of weeks, you go past there. So I understand what you're saying, Welton. And I'm like, what are they just throwing things out of their cars, whole plates of, you know, trash? It's insane, it's unbelievable. But what we're trying to do is be creative and try to get people to buy into the importance of recycling and not throwing trash out. And we're gonna work with the sheriff's.
Belfield Road and Freeman here, and I noticed part of Belfield have fire hydrants. Over by us, there's no fire hydrant. When we get up near Thomasburg, it's fire hydrant. My brother lost his house because there wasn't no fire hydrants around. It burned all the way to the ground. Now, if the same situation happened to us, what are we gonna do? By the time here, our houses will be totally destroyed. We need fire hydrants just like everybody else on Belfield Road.
Let's respond to it.
Thank you.
You were welcome. Okay, fire hydrant, and I'm flashing back now. The fire hydrant you're talking about is when, help out Bob, when they ran water and sewer down to the brick plant. Water and sewer down to the brick plant, and it stopped there.
They connected right there.
Like connected right there. But and to be honest with you, I never thought about that. And they put fire hydrant at certain spots where they can pump water from. Now the fire department, I'm a fire department person, you may be, you probably don't believe it. They put fire, they put fire hydrant at certain spots where they can pump water, the emergency service fire. That's a good question. Let me check on that. That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that, but let me check on fire.
Thank you.
And this is the reason why we're here, for questions like that, so we can go back to the resources to continue to, you know, look into those matters. But before our next question, I want to pass the microphone to Captain LaPresti. Captain LaPresti, the Brunswick County Sheriff Department is a driving force in our community. They're always present in the community. I really enjoyed National Night Out. It was phenomenal. I don't know if anyone else had a chance to come, but Dr. Carter and his executive team and members of his team, they were there. We participated with that. My fellow board member gave out school supplies. So it was a great event. But I just want to pass it over to him because the Brunswick County Sheriff Department is a crucial, a vital partner with the school system. When it's time for Dr. Carter to make decisions to present to the school board, whether those roads are safe, the reason why we had to push school back one day because of the water levels flooding in some areas, we have to reach out to them as well. So they play a major part in the whole community. So I just want to pass it over to Captain LaPresti for a moment.
Good morning, everybody. My sister Monica knew I wasn't going to pass up the opportunity to get a microphone, so I know it's still morning time. I'm going to try to end while it's still morning time. I'm not going to take too much of your time. But again, I'm Joe LaPresti. I'm the Captain of Investigations at the Sheriff's Office. I live in the Powellton District. I live on Iron Bridge Road. I grew up in South Brunswick. If you know where the Dee Mart is, my mom is Dee. So I grew up in that store. We built that back in '98. My wife and I are both graduates. We're both Bulldogs in 2001. So a little bit, I'm showing my age a little bit. But anyway, the Sheriff's Office touches everything in our community. And we are blessed to have the best Sheriff's Office in the state of Virginia. No doubt, hands down. For the first time in a long time, we're full staffed. And in a time that's that's full of trials for law enforcement in general, for us to say that we're full staff means that we have something that somebody wants to come and experience. Most of that is from our leadership. Brian Roberts has been the sheriff for over 20 years. He's still our sheriff right now. This is his